Florida State 31, Alabama 17. This is Jerry Kutz. I'm sitting in the press box at Doak Campbell Stadium. The field is now cleared. Scoreboard is still flashing. Noles win. Mark, what'd you think?
Jerry, not in my wildest dreams that I think we would play that game. I thought, of course, anything can happen in a football game, and you think that, there's different ways to win a game, but not in my wildest dreams that I think we were going to win that game by dominating both sides of the line of scrimmage. I mean, that was amazing to me, and all credit to those guys and to the coaching staff, Mike Norvell. I mean, everybody. I mean, it was absolutely a joy to see.
I was sitting in the end zone of in the Champions Club where I can watch the offensive line and defensive line play. And as I noted in the preview to this game, my eyes were on the center position and to see what was happening there on that interior line and the communication. You'd written an outstanding piece about how challenging it is to get continuity, and particularly when there's five guys who've never played together. What did you think as you watched the game?
There's a saying in the coaching ranks that coaching is overrated, right? And by that we mean good players make good football teams, and good players make good coaches, right? You've heard that forever.
Yeah.
And I think basically that's what that was. That was, of course, Herb Hand did a masterful job in preparing that group, but really those guys are good football players. And I said it in my piece. I'm sure you guys have said it. These guys have had success at other programs. These guys were leaders at their other programs. I mean, it was stated in the broadcast about Gunnar Hansen, being player of the week when he beat Alabama when he was at Vanderbilt. Micah Pettis, was a solid performer at Ole Miss in some of the toughest games in the SEC. And Medley and the center, those guys were leaders on their team, and they were good football players, solid football players, leaders on their team. And of course, I've always liked Richie Leonard. I thought Richie Leonard, was playing really well until he got hurt last year. So those guys are good football players, and that they're self-motivators, they're self-starters, they're smart. Obviously they're pretty tough because I'm honestly, I was, when we made that 4th and 1 on the 35-yard line and watching it from the end zone view, I was absolutely, Julie, my wife said, she goes, I almost cried. I hadn't seen that in so long, and I was the same way. I mean, it was, a hat on a hat. Guys were the meshes were great, no leakage. Guys pressing their feet with their shoulders square to the line of scrimmage, all the things you need on a short yardage situation was absolute. I mean, I hadn't seen that in years from this football team.
Well, and I think, Mark, it goes back to what you said about these are guys who have done it with success elsewhere. That wasn't new to them. The big moment, the crowd noise, the speed of the game, none of that was new to them. It's just a matter of, in the short period of time, could they put the pieces together? But the big thing to me is physicality.
Yeah.
It's a huge difference.
That and the effort, right? And I've always said that offensive line play really is 90% attitude and effort is what it is. And the attitude and effort of that group was great. And really, it goes to the whole team. I mean, you talk about the defense and the way the defensive line dominated, but also, I mean, 4-man pass rush majority of the time got great pressure against what was supposed to be one of the top offensive lines in the country. And, draft picks all across that front. And, I mean, consistent, constant pressure, even in the fourth quarter. Right when I thought we were starting to get a little tired, there was last two drives, got really, really good pressure on them. And, but even on the second and third levels of the defense, guys flying around, just absolutely running into guys, filling gaps, tackling hard. I mean, that fourth down tackle by Rawls on the quarterback, that was a moment where a lot of guys would have turned that down. And he stepped up, put his foot in the ground, collided the quarterback, and didn't let him get another single step. And that was a huge play in the game. And, that to me is attitude and effort. That's what that is. And the way the defense flew around and the offense flew, I mean, running back, quarterback, obviously. Yeah, just all around, just great effort. And even if we would have lost that game, but third quarter, I said, no matter what happens from this point on, I'm tickled to death about everything I'm seeing right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't want to say it during the game, but I told my friend to ask me after the game because I believe I'm superstitious, You can will it to happen.
I'm just a little stitious.
I am superstitious.
Yeah.
But I thought the keys to winning at that point, third quarter, was we just didn't have any mistakes. And Tommy protected the football. There weren't even really.
Well, the kick. Right.
Well, that's what I was getting to. Right after I said that to my friend, Lucas mishandled the punt. And then we got a pass interference penalty, which was, a good call. But because they call them, I hate that call, but it was probably a good one. But at any rate, it just two bad things happened right after I thought it. So I just confirmed my superstitions. But anyway, that was a pretty penalty-free game for FSU. Not a lot of mistakes, I thought. Did you?
No, and that was highlighted in the broadcast too about Alabama having a bunch of penalties.
Right.
And by the way, as a side note, Tommy Castellano's talking smack preseason kind of played in our hands because they went after him a couple times that got us some pretty big penalties, right? A couple late hits on him, extended drives for us, and I think that was a direct result of them wanting to send a message to him. Anyways, that's just a side note. But again, I always talk about Coach Bowdenisms, and as a coach, Coach Bowden always tells coaches, penalties are coaching. Penalties are coaching, and what he means by that is, how you demand, it's technique, it's discipline, and it's effort. Because a lot of times penalties are guys being lazy, not moving their feet, reaching with their hands and grabbing, right, or grabbing a face mask, or not being in position and knocking. So penalties are coaching, and again, all credit to Mike and the whole staff for the way they prepared this team, for the discipline they came out with, for the attitude they came out with, and the effort they put out. I mean, I'm absolutely amazed and pleasantly surprised at the complete 180 turnaround. Because make no mistake, Alabama recruits the best players in the country, especially on the line of scrimmage, and for us to do the window in the manner that we won is amazing.
Yeah, by my count, I'd done a breakdown on 4-star and 5-star players, and Alabama had 63, 23 5-stars, 44 stars. Florida State had 1 5-star and 35 3-stars. I mean, 4 stars. So, you're right. They have a lot of talented players, but they struggled.
Yeah.
And in my preview, I noted that Alabama had lost 90% of their rushing production from last year to this, between Milroe leaving, Jam Miller getting hurt, and then the third leading rusher transferred to Michigan. So that was in question what they were going to be able to do running the football tonight. At first drive, they looked great.
Yeah.
But I think Tony made some good adjustments, and boy, they didn't piss a drop the rest of the half.
Well, yeah, I tell you what. Again, let's talk about the defense a minute. So, things that plagued us in the past were, bad run fits, open gaps, guys not spilling to the right guy. I mean, just scheme things that were things that happened. I didn't see hardly any of that tonight. And no. I saw maybe one time, and I immediately saw the play. I forget who it was. I think it was 10 or 13. Lost contained briefly, and the quarterback got outside. And he immediately came off the field, and I see a coach talking to him. And I know that's probably what they were talking about. And so, just the absolute turnaround in the soundness of the defense, because honestly, I don't know a lot about this scheme. It's
Right.
But you know, but all things are universal, right? So you got to control your gaps. You got to make sure you fill in the right places. You spill with the right people. You know, somebody's waiting there, all that stuff. And the there was, I didn't see a lot. I can't think of very many times where, you know, there was a hole or there was somebody not where they're supposed to be, at least making a collision. You know, there was a missed tackle or two, but not many. But I mean, yeah, that was really, really good. And but see the thing that's got me excited is these are the kinds of things that carry over. These are the kinds of things where this isn't a one-off. This isn't a fluke. You know, these are things that this is who you are because, you know, the way the defense performed schematically, the way they played with the effort, you know, those things can wax and wane, but the discipline they showed in how they executed the defense was really, really impressive. And you know, I mean, very few times were guys running wide open. Most of the passes were challenged. You know, I know we didn't get a turnover, but there were a couple opportunities with the ball, you know, popping up in the air and guys close by, right? So yeah, I mean, that to me was impressive. So all credit to the defensive staff for that game plan and the way they executed it.
So I went into this game saying I was going to pay attention just to the line of scrimmage, and I did. I spent a lot of time focused there. But boy, you know, and I worried going into this game about our safeties. I just didn't know what we had there with Hussey, you know, getting kicked off the team and some Ashland Barker. I didn't know how he would play.
Yeah.
Well, if I was to give a defensive, even though I wasn't watching the secondary, I was watching the front, Ashland Barker kept showing up. I mean, he had several knockdown passes, and I thought Ashland Barker played extremely well, and many others.
Yeah, Cryer to me was everywhere.
Yeah.
That guy, you know, and from everything I know about him, he's a great kid too, and
absolutely,
and,
he is
and
a great kid.
For him to play like that is only going to just elevate his position on the team and his profile. And I mean, if he's the kind of kid I think he is, and everybody says he is, and he plays like that, that's pretty strong.
Yeah. It's funny, we didn't have much to talk about with linebackers last year, but
yeah,
they sure, it seemed to me, I remember there used to be a saying on defense, I want to see a lot of hats in the photograph. And we got a lot of people to the ball tonight.
Yeah.
There were 3-4 helmets in a number of key plays. You mentioned the fourth downs, the tackle on the quarterback. We had either 3 or 4 fourth down stops tonight.
Yeah.
And that's
team defense there because, you know, as they draw back the pass, I mean, the quarterback, if he throws it on time, you know, he had time, but he had to hold the ball. So secondary doing their job, the rush getting loose and harassing and getting to them. I mean, again, good scheme, good team defense, good complementary football from, you know, back and forth. You know, defense makes a stop, offense goes and scores in the first half. I thought that was, you know, a strong statement. I mean, like I said, just the manner in which we played the game and the way that we won the game has tremendous carryover for the rest of the season.
It does. Mark, I'm a big believer in when an offensive unit makes a big play, it lifts the defensive unit, and vice versa. When the defense makes a big play, it lifts the offense. And it was very complimentary tonight. You know, the defense gave up that first long drive, and I know we're all thinking, oh, goodness gracious. But when Tommy came out on the field, he did exactly what Jordan Travis had always done, is he took the team right down the field and answered. I thought that was important.
It was. It was. I think it told us that, you know, okay, we can play with them. Defense, we'll get our stuff straight, and the rest of the game, you know, played out the way it did. So that was a big moment to go down there and score on that first drive for sure. And you know, a lot of props to Gus because, you know, you talk about the offense. We knew it was going to be a run-heavy offense with the quarterback run and all that kind of thing. But man, when he picked his moments for explosive plays, I want to think just about everyone he came out right. He pulled off. I mean, the trail route The reverses to Danzy, that was beautiful, man. That kid, whew, he reminded me. I had flashbacks of Tamarick Vanover, right, when he
Yeah.
got around the edge there and nobody can catch him. That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah.
But the wheel route, trail route that they ran to Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was pulled that one off. A couple of the quarterback runs. I mean, yeah. So it was run the ball, quarterback run, and then take a few shots and pulled them off. So it's funny because when Gus was hired, in my mind I'm thinking, okay, what's this offense going to look like with him? And it's a formula that can win you games for sure. And that's it, and it was pretty much how that game played out was pretty much in my mind. If we were going to be successful, what it was going to have to look like, because if Castellanos has to drop back and throw the ball 50 times a game, that's not him, and that's not the way we're going to be able to win games. We're going to have to win games like this. It's run the ball, take shots. But if it gets to the point where he's got to throw the ball, 50 times to win the game, that's not who he is, and that's not his strength. So yeah, but going down and scoring that first drive, going back to your original point, was so huge because it kept us out of that situation. Because if we don't score there and they turn around and do another 17-play drive, all of a sudden we're like, okay, we're going to be limited in possessions and we're going to have to play catch up. And we get in that position, that's not the strength of our quarterback. We're going to protect our offense.
So I wanted to ask you, the big point I've written down here to ask you about was, I thought Malzahn's play calling was masterful.
Yeah, I agree. Again, we're going to use the run to set up the pass, and Tommy hit some medium range throws, but at the right time. So to your point, yeah, he called him at the right time. And it wasn't always play action. But I'm sitting there trying to remember. But I do remember, some intermediate throws. One outside to Deuce Robinson. I hit Michael Pittman a couple times. Jalen hit Lucas. So he hit some nice intermediate throws in some windows that were fairly tight, but they were accurate. And so yeah, so it's in his thing. And I remember him doing that against us with Boston College, thinking, because I remember it surprising me, thinking, well, I didn't think he could throw it that good. He could good enough. It's just if he has to do it every down, that's not who he is, and that it probably wouldn't come off. But Gus, I thought, did a good job of using the run to set up the pass, and then taking his shots at just the right times. Just the right times.
And now Lucas did have a hell of a throw to Squirrel, that long throw that Squirrel stretched out, and that was a 50+. That was
right. Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. He can do that, right. on occasion, but the timing has to be right. He's got to call him at the right time. If that's a tight window, can he make that throw? I don't know if the guy's not running wide open. If we get into a mode where we're throwing it every down and they're dropping 7 and 8 guys, is he going to fit it in there and throw back shoulder throws and those kind of? I don't know. I don't know.
And Mark, I think we may not know either, because sitting where I was sitting, when he drops and starts to get pursued, he has that ability to extend the play with his feet. And so I think he passed on some throws that other quarterbacks would have made, tight throws, and he went and ran and got a first down.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Huh?
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that too. So he is. While he was running, he was looking downfield. His intent was to throw it, and on several occasions he did. But yeah. So the other interesting call from Malzahn was the reverse calls with Danzy.
Yeah.
They
were set up perfect. Well executed. I mean, when you look at it on the TV copy, and I'll go back and watch it again, but the misdirection on it was great, but the scheme of slipping out those guys, the offensive line guys on the backside of that, and creating some seals to the inside, was really well. I mean, really well designed play and well executed. You know, it hit twice and all for big plays. So yeah, the timing on the call was great. The execution was really good. And I don't call it a trick play. It's not really a trick play, but those kinds of plays. That's the key. The key is always about, you know, where on the field you call it and when you call it. You know, you have it set up. So yeah, great job, I guess.
So what were some of the things we talked about, you know, some of the things that surprised you. What surprised you the most about it?
What's surprised me most, obviously, you know, we talked about already, was the physicality on both sides of the line. That was the biggest thing that surprised me. The other thing that surprised me, again, we talked about it already, but just the effort of when they played, of when they, of the defense especially, you know, rallying the ball, but even the offensive linemen and the receivers and everybody just really just going to the whistle, playing. I mean, we just played really, really hard, you know, hustle all over the field, and that was really pleasant to see, because I don't feel like I've seen that a bunch, you know, especially, I mean, at least last year, you know, it just, I guess maybe I'm just jaded. It just you know, I had a little PTSD from last season, you know, but to see us playing that way again, and Jesse Palmer talked about when he was at Florida, you know, how Florida State's defense under Mickey Andrews, how they played. He said that's what it looks like, and you know, he's right.
High compliment.
Yeah, that's about as high compliment as you can get, right?
Right.
And so even for a dirty damn Gator, you know, I appreciated that. But
so Mark, I mean, how much do you think that the Alabama quarterback, as the game wore on, looked like he was getting frustrated?
Yeah.
And how much of that confusion or frustration or his performance was due to the different looks White was giving him? Do you think White schemed him up pretty good?
Yeah, 100%. So I think the biggest key as far as like the Alabama passing game and offense was that we didn't have to send a lot of people. We didn't have to blitz like. No, we occasionally brought 5. There was once or twice we brought 6, you know, a couple of times, but not many. But a majority of the time that pressure was coming for 4. And so when you have 4 and you have 7 in coverage, you know, that if for a quarterback, especially a new quarterback who hasn't played very much, that looks like 100 people out there. And now you're a little reticent to pull the trigger. And like I said, you know, he get back there, hit his 5th step, not quite pull the trigger, not throwing on rhythm. He holds it just a second, and the rush was getting loose. And that was really the key. A big key to the game was the secondary, you know, taking away his first read, whether it was through scheme confusion or, you know, he trying to anticipate something, thinking he's going to get something and not getting it, and all of a sudden having to hold the ball. You know, I have to go back and look at it, but for whatever reason, you know, he wasn't throwing on rhythm, wasn't throwing on time. There was a couple times he did, and some really nice play designs. I mean, you got to give him credit; they're on scholarship too, and they know what they're doing. You know, there's a couple clear out routes, and the thing that gave us most trouble were the clear out routes with guys coming underneath. That's when you saw those, you know, 10, 12, 20-yard throws kind of to the middle, you know, numbers of the field. That's what that was. A lot of clear out routes, guys coming underneath. And
he had a couple of good balls thrown where we had a defender, you know, knock it loose.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. You know, there are guys around. So that played a big factor. And so, again, complementary defense, secondary doing their job, 4-man rush, getting to the passer, executing some nice twist stunts, really, really nice. You know, getting guys on their heels, the offensive linemen on their heels, getting bad angles with some of those stunts was really nice. I mean, just all around well executed game plan defensively for sure.
Yeah. So the center for Alabama was considered on PFF. He was rated the 2nd most productive center last year in college football.
Yeah.
He was number 2 on run again, you know, on run blocking. He goes against Darrell Jackson tonight, and I tried to pay attention to that. And there were a couple times he got Darrell in he stalemated him in a one-on-one block. But frequently they were combo blocking him, and on occasion they were getting help from a third.
Yeah.
And I don't think Daryl in the stat book is going to show up with a whole bunch of stats. But I thought he was disruptive enough that he gave his teammates a chance to harass him.
But he's big enough to be disruptive no matter where he goes, for sure. I mean, that dude, yeah. It's hard for me to see a lot of that, but I tried to focus on it. And I try to focus on our side of the offense too, because I want to see how those middle three play on our offense. But so Cryer and those guys, they're not getting freed up. And those defense men aren't getting one-on-one blocks. And those guys in the middle aren't taking the blocks.
Right.
And so he definitely. I mean, he's a space eater, is what he is.
So at times, they would have him out of the game, and I'm going to do a real close look at the participation chart, because frequently I saw the Desir twins in there, true freshmen. I saw McRae in there. Diggs had a couple of big plays. It looked to me like they played a lot of people on the defensive line tonight.
Well, I give another shout out too. Somebody else that kept popping up. I kept seeing this number 5 popping up. Daniel Lyons.
Farmer.
Daniel Lyons.
Yeah, Farmer's old number. Lyons. Yeah, Lyons.
Daniel Lyons. He's gotten another level.
Yeah.
What we hoped he could become or would become. He showed me something today. I mean, he played really well and he was disruptive and he was active. He was like that 3 technique that you like to have that gets up the field, shucks blocks, chasing the ball. I mean, yeah, he was real active today. I thought his numbers showed up quite frequently on the camera for sure.
Yeah. So if you look back on your career, we were real. Your class, that '84 class, became the start of the dynasty. And was there a game that really let you realize that we can do this before '87, as you were coming up? 84, 85.
Yeah. 86. Yeah. When we beat Nebraska in '85, right? That was like, oh wow, that was because they were top 5 team at the time, and we went into Lincoln and beat them pretty. It was not handily, but we won by like 2 touchdowns, I think.
Yeah.
And looking around, going, we're pretty good, pretty good. And that was I remember that game because I remember Deion as a true freshman running down their quarterback who was the state of Florida 100-meter champ, right? And he broke a run and Deion ran him down. We're like, oh, okay, this guy's pretty good. And so class '84, '85, and McGowan started that game and was all over the field. So that's what we kind of do. We had some dudes too.
So I'm kind of thinking that this unit, this game, you've got to believe, you got to trust that what your coaches are coaching you is going to pay off, and you got to believe in each other. I think a game like this,
What
helps.
helps with
trust with coaches, trust with each other.
Yeah.
Trust, belief in yourself.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, football's a funny game because you practice so much and you only play 12, 13 times, 14, 15, hopefully times a year. But there's so much practice time that you put into it. And so for the majority of the time that you're training this game, it's hard to know what kind of result you're going to get. I mean, starting in January, you're just, you're working. And, I talked about in my article, I know these guys do a lot of walkthroughs, a lot of virtual stuff, a lot of what if that, and walkthroughs and whatnot. But to what end, right? You're doing all this stuff, you're preparing, and you're hoping it's all for something. So to go out and get a result like this just kind of reinforces, okay, we're doing the right things and we can keep, we keep doing what we're doing, trust the process, right? Coaches are telling us the right thing, the things they're telling us, we do them and it works. We don't do them and it doesn't work, the importance of communication and trust that, I don't have to do the guy next to me, I don't have to do his job. I'm going to let him do his job. I'm going to do my job, right? So that trust. I mean, those are all things that when a team is pressing and or not having success, all of a sudden, all that stuff, I don't know, man, why are we doing this again? Because it's not working.
All right.
As opposed to, hey, we're doing it, we're pulling it off, it's working. I see how it all fits now, right? Yeah, it's a big part of the process for sure.
Well, we're going to wrap up here in a little bit. It's unbelievable victory for Florida State. I think it surprised a lot of people. I thought there was a chance. I never wanted to make a prediction, but in my head, I was thinking if Florida State wins this game, it would be 24-21. I didn't think there'd be quite as much offense. I'm surprised by it's a bigger margin of victory than I thought it could have been.
Yeah, in my mind, I thought victory was going to look, for us to win, it was going to look a lot different. I thought, we were going to fight to the end. We'll have some big plays from some special players that, like a Mekhi Dancy or a Jalen Lucas or a Tommy, just having a game of his life, or in the defense being opportunistic because Alabama just blow themselves up. That wasn't the way it was. This was absolute line of scrimmage domination and well-executed game plans and solid football and penalty-free football and turnover-free football and all the markers that you say, all those cliches that say you do these things, you win the game. We did. And It wasn't fluke. And
game one.
That's what's got me most excited is there's carryover there because if this is who they are, then yeah, I mean, okay, so in a way we kind of messed up, right? You beat Alabama like this, and then it was at home too, right? We're going to have to go on the road some tough places, but you beat Alabama like this, there's not a team on your schedule that you can't play with.
Right.
So they have no excuses now.
Right.
So.
Well, listen, I think the other thing that they won tonight was there was about probably 6,000 or 7,000 Alabama fans here, and everybody else wearing garnet and gold was from Missouri. And they were all in there showing.
That's right. 100%. We all were.
And all we wanted to see was I wanted to see a competitive team. I wanted to see more physicality. I wanted to see some want to, guys running wild, chasing the ball. And us, 90%, 95%, I'd grade it that I saw that. There was a player here or there that could have extended himself, but you got film now to watch.
Yeah.
Right. And so where do you go from here? This is a big win.
Yeah.
You got two teams coming in that you're favored largely over. And then you get into the real schedule in the ACC. What are you thinking as a coach with this team?
Well, I'm thinking let's take care of our bodies. It's a long season, where do we go from here? We play the next one. I mean, as cliche as it is, you had the best day you can have today, and then you go on to the next one. Because if you look any further than that, you get in trouble.
Yeah.
And do the things you need to do to be successful. And that's a boring answer, but that's what you got to do. Otherwise, you get too far ahead of yourself. You get too far out over your skis. The other thing is take care of the bodies. We're not very deep. That's the one thing that could derail everything is that we get some key guys hurt, and the whole thing goes south. And so but you still got to practice. You still got to practice tackling. You still got to practice blocking. So I do all those things. Just be smart about it. Just be smart. Right. So yeah, that's as a coach, that's what I'm thinking.
Clean up the mistakes. Point out the things.
Get better. Improve. Build on what you got.
Right.
Try to anticipate. How now the teams have a book on you. That's one of the big advantages we had is Alabama didn't know what we were going to do. Didn't know who could do what and what are our strengths. What are when third down, who are we going to? Short yard, who are we going to? What do you got to stop on our offense? I mean, of course, everybody knew you have to stop the quarterback, but besides that, what do you got to do? So, but now everybody kind of saw it, right? We have everything out there because we played number 8 team in the country. So now there's going to be a book on this, and so trying to anticipate how are they going to try to stop us? How are they going to try to take away Castellano's legs? How are they going to try to take advantage of our weaknesses on defense, whatever they perceive weaknesses matchups are? Try to anticipate that stuff and have answers ready to go. As a coach, that's the other thing I'm looking at, So, yeah.
Well, listen, I need to promote Osceola right now. We've got a, 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 a premium running right now, 30% off of our normal annual charge. You get 30% off, and you get a $25 gift certificate to Alumni Hall, which is the same as cash that you can use either in the store or online. So if y'all are thinking about hopping on this exciting start of the season and getting the kind of an analysis from Salva and the Osceola staff, I encourage you to go to theosceola.com and subscribe. It's going to be looks like it could be a fun year.
It's a nice launch. You can't start it any better.
I went into this thinking that I don't know much. It's like Christmas morning when you're a kid, you know?
Right.
You don't know what's going to be under that tree. You're hoping for a pony. Bike would be kind of nice. I just don't want any more underwear.
Dirty underwear at that.
I think we would all been excited with a bike, but I think we got a pony today.
Yeah, no question. That, it's funny because going into last year, we were really thinking we were pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Everybody, I mean, Saban went on TV and said, here's the NFL guys on my defensive line, et cetera, et cetera. And they had the result that we did. We can put that to bed now for sure.
I hope we don't have to talk about 2-10 anymore.
Exactly. That was a miserable experience for sure. So yeah, and let's give credit where credit's due. Give Mike and the staff; those guys played their tails off. All credit to those guys. I mean, it's hard. Of course, we're on cloud nine right now, and we'll look at it, and they'll be critical of some things. The other thing as a coach, you said, when you're high like this, now's the time to coach the crap out of them.
Really?
You coach them harder, right?
Because they'll take the coaching.
Absolutely. You got to keep them grounded, and you have an opportunity now to do some really hard teaching. I'm sure there's plenty.
And the eye in the sky don't lie. You got the film to show them.
Sure, absolutely. And so, there's going to be some hard coaching going on for these guys, especially these two games coming up. We're going to be heavily favored. Don't want to get complacent and just prepare for the rest of the season. But yeah, great opportunities for coaching right now too.
Mark, thank you so much. You're always a wealth of knowledge, and I love talking football with you.
Good deal, man. I'm looking forward to it. We'll keep it going.
Thank you all.
Go Noles.
All right, man.
I think you're still on.